Yo, Tim. Dude, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm Tim.
I'm Elle. I was gonna do the other way.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So
You were gonna introduce me.
this is my buddy Tim.
And this is my buddy Elle.
No, but this is
Leave a voicemail.
so on today's Where Does Food episode, we're talking about toast. Tim, let me ask you something. Have you seen that it pops up every so often on the social medias? It's a picture of sliced bread.
Oh yeah.
And it's got the variations of burnt or brownness on them.
Yeah, and it's like, which one is
Yeah.
It's sort of like the coffee one where it's like, how do you take your
Yes.
coffee?
So if you're gonna toast your toast, you're gonna toast your bread. Where are you saying at?
You know, on my toaster, I like to put it on a 4,
Shit.
which is minutes. And yeah, you know what? Mine's definitely on the darker end. Obviously, it's not the burnt one that they always add in that like meme for some reason.
Completely burnt.
Yeah, it's just like burnt. It's
Charred.
like, who actually does that? And if you do,
Me, when I
please
forgot
give
to
me-
get the toast.
please give me your name, number, and address so I can dox you online.
I like toast. This is char.
Yeah.
This is not what this
I
is.
like charcoal.
I like charcoal.
That's what they think the charcoal toothpaste is. It's just
Oh,
burnt
shit.
toast. They ground it down.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Ugh. No, so honestly, one of the beautiful things about toast is that there are actually so many different types of food, not really types of food, but types of bread that qualify as toast.
Oh, okay.
So you've got French toast, you've got your paninis, you got your bruschettas, you've
right.
got your baguettes, which I didn't realize
Is technically all toast.
were all technically all toast.
Right.
But
I think, I didn't realize that either. Because I'm sitting here trying to like tabulate the score I'm going to give toast.
oh, you're
And
gonna like my scale.
And I'm like, for a second there, I was thinking of my 4-minute toast that popped out of my little blue toaster.
Yes.
And that was my scale. I was
Yeah,
like,
no, I'm
I was
sure.
getting ready to put whatever I don't know what the thing
know.
is. Whatever it ends up being, I had that in mind. But now I got to think of, do I have to think of CT Crunch? Is that toast?
Is that
Are we gonna hit like existential? Is toast the existential
I might-
episode we've been waiting
this
for?
might actually blow your mind.
Is this where we get really heady and like way too?
yeah, because
deep?
one day toast was the original. Why do we eat this thing? Why do I wake up in the morning? I want to make toast with my eggs.
And when she says the original, she means between us. Like when we were
Bing.
conceptualizing this idea, it was literally like the first thing that came out
Was.
of one of our mouths was
Yep.
like who the fuck eats toast? Like why?
Why?
Who was like, let's double cook this bread?
And we're going to talk about that today. So, Tim, on a scale of 1 to 99 red balloons, what?
Oh, you had to pick red. Well, I guess it is. Well, it's technically October, so
Dun,
it
dun,
feels
dun,
very
dun,
like we all float down here. You said how many red
1 to
balloons?
99.
1 to 99, not 0 or 100.
No.
1 to 99 red balloons.
99.
Listen, you like I said, I was thinking about just like your baseline toast, but now that you kind of mentioned that, now in my head I'm thinking of like eggs in a basket, avocado toast. I'm
Oof.
thinking of French toast.
Exactly.
I'm thinking of banana pudding.
It's
I'm
so
thinking of
versatile.
which all gets made with toast. I'm thinking of
Exactly.
stuffing. My brain is going crazy.
I know.
And I have to give toast such a ubiquitous food.
I love that.
I have to give it an 80 red balloons
Absolutely.
off the rip.
Off rip.
So I'm interested to see if I'm gonna be popping some balloons or if I'm
No.
gonna be
I think we're gonna
fucking grabbing them from that little kid walking down the street because he's got my fucking red balloons.
Yeah,
So-
balloons. No, I think we're going to add
Hey yo. Hey there, it's your host Tim, stopping the podcast to tell you about an awesome deal that you can get through Rep Sports. Rep Sports is a supplement company, so they help supplement people's workout lives. They have proteins, pre-workouts, post-workouts, recoveries. They have all types of supplements over there, so go check them out and fill out that stack. I know you're getting low. I can feel it. My stack's getting low. I'm about to do me a shop as well. You can also get mine and Elle's favorite energy drink, Raise Energy. I'm telling you, one can get you through the day. Not a problem. Raise Energy is fantastic. No crash at all. So if you go to repsports.com and use the code WDF15, you can get 15% at checkout. Again, WDF15, you get 15% at checkout, and you also get to support this podcast and support your workout routine, man. Go do it. Now enjoy the rest of this podcast that we love doing. Hey guys, welcome to the ad section. I'm here to tell you real quick about Anchor by Spotify. You may have heard us talk about Anchor at the end of our episodes, is because Anchor is the platform we use to distribute our podcasts. It's totally free. It helps us distribute our podcasts to different platforms. That's how we're on Apple Podcasts. That's how we're on Google Podcasts, CastBox, you name it. They've helped us do that. You can record directly on the app, on the webpage, so you don't even need a super fancy setup. It's super straightforward, totally free. So download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started on your podcast or whatever you like to do. All right, guys, enjoy the rest of the episode.
So I found out pretty much what makes toast toast. Science time is the Maillard reaction.
Hold on. Science with Elle, and we're talking about toast. Yeah,
So-
the Maillard reaction you were saying.
So what it is, scientifically.
What it is.
Scientifically speaking, it toasts. It combines heating and crisping and browning, which adds the flavor profiles. So the Maillard reaction can make your bread sweet, or it can make it savory, or something in between. That was those variations of browning that we were referring to earlier when we were talking about what's your favorite.
I guess it also would depend, I'm assuming, on also the bread, because there's a lot of different breads. You got it. So like if it's more sugary, like a brioche, probably get a little bit of a sweeter
bread. My
sort
gosh,
of.
I got so excited just thinking.
Or,
about that bread.
maybe it's more of a caramely sort of taste as opposed to like a rye, which would be a little bit more savory.
I'm so glad you brought that up. So what it is, it's the chemical reaction between the amino acids, and that's what reduces the sugars in the bread.
Right.
Therefore,
Right.
So you guys, it's not just a toast. This is the actual reaction itself will go. It's like, think your seared steaks.
Yeah, I was gonna say also, as someone who cooks,
the actual person.
I immediately knew I knew what the reaction of toast was called, because the Maillard reaction is what you pretty much shoot for with any sort of like caramelization on anything, any sort of brand. That's actually how you got it. That's actually how caramel's made. Essentially you're taking all those you're essentially taking all the little grains of sugar and you're creating a Maillard reaction across the entire thing. Well, sugar also happens to like dissolve a little bit when you heat it up, but like you're essentially just browning all that. You do that with brown butter, pretty much anything where you're trying to create a little different extra flavor profile.
Love that. Yeah. So Tim's hit the nail on the head there. So yeah, think your s'mores. That's what this is.
Oof.
That's what you're doing to your food. Fried dumplings. Think the Maillard reaction for that.
Yeah. Thanks, Maillard reaction.
All right. So Tim, historically speaking, you used to not eat warm bread. You wouldn't eat warm bread. You would, depending on the type of bread, you would either just wait and let the bread rest and relax and hang out for a couple hours, or you would wait even a couple days. But you would not. Yeah, you would not like that warm, throw some butter on it, like throw some D's on it. You wouldn't do that. That wasn't people weren't doing that.
People weren't eating warm bread.
People weren't doing that.
How did they know the bread was good?
That's what I'm saying, really.
Like imagine like painstakingly making a loaf where you're like collecting the yeast, and you got like your kid walking around helping you because he's a little shitbag, not doing anything.
He's a shithead.
And then you like make this loaf, and then you put like caraway seeds in it. And you're making like a real hearty loaf, and it's not white because that didn't exist for a long time. It's like this super grainy, like very
ancient
earthy, sort of tastes exactly like a mud, like just mud, like
earth.
And you wouldn't really know until a day later when you sliced into that bad boy, and then your family resented you. But you didn't get a divorce because that wasn't very common.
That wasn't a thing unless you were unless you were a king. It made me laugh though, because I'm like, oh, so bread is like people. It just needs some rest period. Just needs some time.
Yeah, it is
like
very
your
true.
steak. You got to let it rest for a second after you take it off.
Under the pressure cooker of society, you need a little bit of rest.
It gets a little burnt out sometimes. Get it? All right.
Funny.
All right. Okay, I'm leaving.
Sad. All right, back to toast.
So yeah, let's go to the historical process of toast.
Okay.
So the heating process of the bread itself has ties and traces back to the 1st century CE. And actually, they found a Latin recipe for bread, which what it was actually French toast was the first toasted. Yeah, it was a sweet bread recipe, and it's exactly like they got the eggs, sugar.
Really? And that's like the first
That was like
recipe.
technically like the first,
right?
Quote unquote, allegedly.
Allegedly.
I was hoping I'd be able to bust that out.
Let's use lawyer terms. Allegedly.
Allegedly. You guys know that's
OJ
my
didn't
favorite.
do it.
that glove. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
I actually saw the new Bronco. Don't look too bad. Anyway,
Again,
and then in the 1400s and 1500s, they actually use toast to flavor drinks,
ooh, right.
which again makes sense because of the yeast.
Mm-hmm.
But when I thought about it abstractly, I was like, that's disgusting. You're just
Very weird.
It's very weird. But again, it makes sense.
And it does sort of seem like, and maybe you'll dive into this, it does sort of seem like, oh, we got this food lying around that's getting a little stale or
That's
something
absolutely
like
what
that.
it was.
and,
Yep.
like, so we just, whoop.
Yes. And we'll definitely touch on here, but
Toss
that's,
it in your tea.
it's exactly with the idea of croutons, right? Bread's
Oh,
going stale.
right.
Then we're going to...
All right, we're gonna make some croutons thrown in soup,
And then
well, their soup was leaf juice, known as tea. Yeah.
We love us some leaf juice.
Yeah.
And so then we go into the 14th century where it's mentioned in French and German recipes. And then we
Okay.
go into, as well, later on the 15th century, we have Italian and Canadian cuisines that just involve toast.
Toast.
And bread.
Okay, so let's do a timeline of where that toast just went. All right, so we got sweet toast back in the 1st century, and then what century were we just tossing toast in drinks?
We were tossing toast and drinks in the 14 and 1500s.
Okay,
So about 15.
that's a good
15, 16.
split.
Mhm.
And then
Yep.
it started getting used just in recipes,
Just in general. Yeah, people were throwing them into...
like soups and stuff like that.
You
It
got
started
it.
to actually like develop into, let's use it as a food as opposed to a drink flavor.
Yeah, disgusting.
Well, like, didn't they also, wasn't that they, like, bread was like fucking seasoned, wasn't it? Like, it wasn't just like, why we have to get away from the construct of like imagining sliced bread being
No,
thrown
that's exactly
into a
what
drink. Like,
No, it was just bread.
it's
Just straight up bread.
just bread. Yeah, but again, I think historically, bread took on, I'm sure the loaf thing was a thing, but I'm just saying, like, ingredients wise,
Absolutely.
I'm sure it was a vastly different ingredient list than what we're using now,
Oh, I would say so.
And the yeast is probably like just like what's in the air at the time, because that's how things used to be like processed. Yeah, that's how they used to develop like yeast and shit. It's just like open air in a barn that had like fucking cobwebs everywhere.
They're like, this will work out. This is fine.
Yeah. He spit it in a little bit.
That was your seasoning, Tim.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah, that's what
Absolutely
it was. All right, so move on.
No, so really we come into the closer as we get to the 20th century and then the 19th century.
Okay.
In the 19th century is when our friends across the pond, our Brits, we really start noticing bread being used and just mentioned throughout English literature. And so then, like most things,
like in cookbooks, or
Like
just like in regular
cookbooks,
ass
in
books?
cookbooks, and then also in just basic
Oh, okay,
literature.
cool. So it just started to make its appearance.
They're like, people like toast. They're like, well, young Sarah Jane was prepping her toast for
Isn't
father.
that like I love that so far with the way food works is it sort of just happens.
Absolutely.
It's not.
No.
I think there's this like fantastical idea of like one person tried it and then we all fucking were like, yes,
Let's do it.
But it's not at all the way.
It's not at all how
So
it
we got
happens.
to the 19th century and people in Britain were like, or is it all of Europe or Britain?
No, that's where. So in the 19th century, Britain is convinced that they were the ones that created toast. Yeah.
Well, we can trust them.
That's why it makes me laugh a lot. Yeah. When I did my research, it was like, and obviously, like Britain, newsflash, colonized a lot of places.
Oh yeah.
And so
Whatever.
therefore,
Colonialism.
a lot of those places have toast. But it's variations of the toast represent indicative of their country,
Right.
which we will touch upon here in a little bit. But yes.
Yeah, so I do love the idea that like when they did their imperialism stint, they learned about curry and salt and peppers and different stuff like that. And then they gave the world bread that got cooked again. Mm-hmm. Nice.
That's 100%. Yeah, that was
Nice.
their input. And it was going back. Turns out the Romans were out here making s'mores. They were roasting bread on open fires. Once again, it's the Romans.
Of course, why wouldn't you?
Of course, right.
Now I'm sitting here thinking about the Romans, and it's just a bunch of people sitting around a fire.
The Romans
and they have
fucking
this,
killed it, my
and
guy.
they just have bread, man. Like bread is a peasant food. Like sure. Like it's not only as a peasant food, but like royals are also eating it.
Exactly.
Because it's just a food that's always there.
Yes.
But it's cheap enough to be peasant food. You absolutely like imagine eating bread day on day on day on
Yes.
day on. Not to mention slavery was rampant during Roman time.
Gang.
And so you're just throwing it on the fire to create some sort of life. Like you're trying to just break boundaries. Like, this isn't a culinary genius. This was a person who got tired of eating bread.
No, that's
that
literally
created
what
toast. Oh,
that's what I got from this.
Bow on the car.
We love it. Absolutely. And then later on in the 19th century, so in the first half of the 19th century, same thing. People were just making toast over fire.
Nice.
And then later on, the toaster was invented in the 19th century. So then people were able to
Serious?
It was 1850s.
What?
1870s, I'm sorry. Yeah.
911 wasn't made until the 70s, and you're telling me someone had the audacity to make a fucking toaster?
Isn't that wild?
I have to know what that one looked like.
Okay.
Was it just like... It was just like an open...
I want to mention...
It was a lantern, but the one plate was off.
Fun fact, Thomas Edison is actually credited for creating like the first sandwich grill, which aka a panini press.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, because it's Edison.
Right. Yeah, right. He was like...
Which meant
Y'all
nothing.
hungry?
Which meant nothing. He just had like some
I was
wire.
gonna say someone
He
else.
probably had like mattress like guts, and he just like folded
Too
it
heavy
down.
thing, yeah.
And he just was like
the two irons.
and he just plugged it into the wall that he had electricity
Hey,
going
Delilah.
to. Yeah. And then it was just like
Bing.
burning red hot, and he just like.
I want bread. That's
Yeah.
what happened. Yeah.
Okay,
So,
toaster was made in 1850, which
but-
is wild to me.
which also around that time,
I didn't.
had no clue, right?
No, in my head, not to keep cutting you off.
No,
I'm
you're
just
fine, dude.
toast
We're
is
learning.
fascinating
I
me.
learned a lot. Yeah, me too.
In 1850, people aren't real in my brain. Like,
No, I agree with that.
And-
I always
yeah.
have to remind myself that technically the United States had only been around like about 100 years at that point.
Yeah.
Still a baby.
Yeah.
Such a little baby compared to everybody else.
And yeah,
We're not even, what's the Louisiana Purchase, like 1860 or something like
Yeah.
that? Like around the time that we were quite literally purchasing the rest of the United States, we're like,
around the
bread,
let's
toasters.
rephrase this.
Yeah.
Around the time we were taking the rest of the United States, they literally, not even going to get in the side tangent. Around the time that we just sort of decided that we could buy a lot of land.
I'm just sipping my rays.
Some dude made it his goal,
White
or
peach.
some woman, or somebody, some
dude.
kid,
Some dude.
made it their goal in life in the middle of this nonsense to, form a country. No, I'll form how to toast bread easier, more conveniently in your homes.
Isn't that incredible?
That's amazing.
It was really funny though, because they were like, they said people were inconvenienced because you could only toast one piece of bread at a time. And people were like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah,
I
buddy.
could put two slices of bread on the fire.
Yeah, I could
but
throw
I
my
can only
whole
toast
I could throw
one.
my whole like
I love
bread
it.
inventory on the fire.
I love it so much. They're like, no. Also around that time in the 1850s, toast was introduced as an element of American hot cuisine. So
okay.
this is, so it's like,
So this is when in America.
so you guys want to blame the millennials for the avocado toast, but really it was the 1850s when they were like,
they're like, let's just start putting stuff on it.
toast was,
Yeah.
it was a hot commodity.
And in my
Delicacy.
in my head, I'm like, okay, so we're talking soups, but I'm sure that sandwiches started to become a thing. And,
Absolutely.
again, I thought the toaster would have been made in like the 40s.
I was shocked that it was made so early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But sure.
It was-
100
toaster
years
apparently was one
prior
of the
to
first
when
one.
I thought the toaster was going to be made, they were starting to use it.
Very cool.
Very cool.
So I guess like the three most kind of more of now we're in a modern times, right? So it's
Okay.
like three ways that you can do your bread. Probably seen it more so in the food service industry. The conveyor toaster.
Oh.
So it's just
Yeah.
going through, right?
Yeah.
In between two heating elements. In theory, each side is going to be nice and
Very cute.
and golden brown, right?
Very cute.
Again, equally.
Well, and I'll tell
Right.
you, here's, and they come in a lot of varieties.
Yes.
I'll tell you the one
Do
at Shake Shack. Since since you're toasting buns and not just like regular ass like slices of
So
bread.
good, dude. Yeah.
There's essentially a roller with butter, and then you just like graze it on that roller, and then you slide it down, and then it has the one element on that side, so it goes through and just toast that one side
I want to put my
perfectly.
face on that. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
I could okay, real talk. I could probably just eat those buttered buns just straight. Okay. All right.
Are you kidding me?
Dude,
That's
dangerous.
a thing that happens.
Okay.
100%.
That makes me feel
You're
better,
just
yeah.
like, oof.
One.
Yeah.
There's
It comes
Sorry.
out way too buttered, way too moist, way
No,
too good.
You know what though? I just want to pause and let's talk about this for a second because
Okay.
I think you do bring up a good point. The quality of bun, especially when you're talking about burgers and sandwiches, it makes it for me.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
Some people don't, but it's like, no, that bun itself needs to be able to catch the juice of it. I don't want it necessarily getting too soggy, but I want it to get soggy
it's
enough.
Gotta be, listen,
it's got to be right.
Yeah, a good burger bun, it softens and pillows with your bite. You definitely don't want a bun that is rigid and stays, because then it just kind of gets clogged up.
I don't like that. Delicious. So yeah. So then the other ways you can grill or broil your bread.
Don't they call it like grilled toast or something like that?
Yeah, you just throw it on
some shit like that.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure like in Europe it's not called like grilled cheese, it's called toasted cheese.
Toasted cheese. I think so, yes.
Fuck off.
So it's usually butter beforehand on the toasted cheese, and then of course the age-old method of just doing it over an open flame.
Which I've never ever done that. I've never
done that before either.
I've never had a fire and thought to myself, I think I'm gonna go grab
get some toast.
I think I'm gonna go grab my Wonder. Not a sponsor. I think I'm gonna go grab my Nature's Own
bunny bread
and fucking
making a little PB&J.
Yeah.
Man.
Little toasted PB&J.
So good
Delicious.
though, dude. Yeah. So this is where it gets kind of exciting, and it kind of honestly overwhelmed me for a second because I didn't really know what direction I wanted to go with this. But there's technically, again, as per the definition of the chemical reaction, there's so many different types of toast. So you have paninis, the French toast we kind of mentioned earlier, the BLTs, croutons, roti, bruschetta, just to name a few. All of those things are good. I love all of it.
Bread.
Bread is kind of incredible.
Bread, grade A.
Grade A. Again, you
Grade
can do
A.
sweet meals with it. You can do savory meals with it. You can, again, make it your main entree, like make a sandwich, or
bread
you can have it as a
dude.
side. Bread is life. Like bread and ball, those are only two B's in my life. You know what I'm saying? So kind of overall, so how we eat it, right? So we normally eat bread with butter, margarine, preserves, spreads, jam. Those are usually the go-tos, just kind of across the world.
Vegemite, Marmite.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. So in places like the UK, New Zealand, South Africa, toast is usually eaten with Marmite, and then Australia
is Vegemite.
Yep. Tim, have you had either of them ites before? I haven't.
No, I've.
Do you desire to try it?
Well, I didn't really know much about them until like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Like oddly enough, there's tons of markets we could go grab some around us. I mean, we live in a metropolis, so.
All right, Clark Kent.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, we live in a big city, so like we could easily, there
Absolutely
are Russian markets and German markets here, and I would totally be down to try some Marmite.
Okay.
I don't know if we could find Vegemite. I'm sure we could order it via.
Yeah.
I'm sure we could line Bezos' pocket a little bit and if I can get it shipped to us, but like.
Come on, Jeffrey, you can do it.
Yeah, I don't want to do that though, so I might.
I have cuts in Australia. We can ask her.
Well, there's a Russian market in Nashville, and there's also a German market that's like right down the road.
Let's try it, dude.
And I really want to just check one of those out and see if I can get a hold of it.
Honestly, I had never heard of it. The only time I'd ever heard of it before was when I was younger, and some of you might relate to this. Watching the Mary-Kate and Ashley movie, Our Lips Are Sealed, when they're in Australia and they're at like the boarding school and they're like, oh yeah, like Vegemite, and they're like, ew,
Vegemite.
Yeah. Oh, that was so good. That was really good. So yeah, that's how they eat in Australia. In Southeast Asia, they pair toast with coconut jam, while places like Sri Lanka, it's usually paired with a curry soup and mint tea.
Ooh.
So there you go.
Touch my body with that curry soup.
I bet that coconut jam is actually probably very good.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then here in the U.S., like we have Texas toast, which is just thicker slices of
toast.
bread, and it's so good, just soaked
good.
with butter. South Korea, you'll actually have people making toast on the street, like just like hot dog street vendors, like that's on the street. We'll have like veggies, sliced meat on them, covered with sauce.
Also,
and that's a full meal.
Also, like poor guy here, super poor person treat.
Are you about to do the
butter toast with cinnamon sugar?
Yes, dude,
buddy.
absolutely.
Like, it is. Wow.
It's so good.
It's so good.
I don't care how well off I think I'll ever get or not get, but I will always have.
That's a go-to.
Buttered so good. If you've never made
good.
it,
it's totally
go eat it.
It's worth it.
It's definitely worth it. And thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, between that and the biscuit dough cinnamon sugar donuts, 100%.
That's so good.
Take the biscuit dough and you cut a little hole out, and then you just fucking fry that bad boy.
Ooh.
Cinnamon sugar at the end, and you got biscuit dough donuts, man.
Like, okay, thank you for that.
Super poor person.
No,
It's super easy,
hell
man.
yeah.
You get that like little 50-cent roll or
Yeah.
whatever, and that's a quick way to
That's delicious.
convince your kids that you're well off.
Okay.
Yeah, shout out to my
Shout
family.
out, yeah. Honestly, shout out to parents like that, man.
Yeah.
So, all in all, toast is extremely versatile.
Yeah.
You can eat it.
Is it considered toast if you fry it?
Yeah,
when
technically.
So technically,
as
donuts
long
are
as
toast.
that reaction, yeah, as long as that reaction is occurring, it's
That is actually really true.
Technically,
yeah.
it's-
Like
and that's-
technically, you're toasting.
exactly, and it's changing
Yeah.
inherently changing the chemical
Yeah, it
reaction
does
of
change
it.
it. Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. Technically, bro, I'm about to be like, I'm gonna get some toast. I'm gonna get a shit ton of donuts.
Yeah.
But
I'm just eating toast this morning.
yeah, what the problem is. But I did want to add in. So yeah, we did kind of mention that Thomas Edison was created for the sandwich girl,
Yeah,
which is
right, right.
wild to me. But
What can he do?
what can he do? But actually, with paninis and the panini press itself, it didn't really take off until the 1970s and 1980s.
Which is what I was expecting with toast, but or not
Makes
toast, but
sense.
toasters. But
Right,
keep on.
but it makes sense of the variation of like an actual toasted sandwich.
Right.
It was right on par with your timeline.
Yeah.
But they started in Italy around Milan,
As most foods do.
and then it was followed by in the U.S. by turned into like
Yeah.
like your fast food sandwiches that you see now. And then one thing I thought was very, very interesting because toast is like a pop culture reference.
Right.
So it's like you watch like early like 1980s, 1990 movies, be like, oh, like dude, you're toast. So as per
Yeah.
the internets,
You're right. I forgot about that.
as per the internet, in the 1984 movie, probably heard of this movie. It's Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters.
And this guy named Bill Murray,
Bill Murray.
he apparently was the first person to
Do we still like Bill?
Yeah, Bill's cool as fuck. I don't care what.
We still like
we
Bill.
still like Bill. Apparently he is speaking to a character who's like, "You're toast," and when they're vanquishing the villain. So
Yeah.
that was fun. Ghostbusters was apparently the first
Yeah.
movie that made it like a pop culture.
And you mentioned it at the top that like we're not talking about like doing like the toast and like with your drinks, but that's also another thing
Exactly.
that happens. Is
Exactly.
like, it's also referenced in that.
And it's like, how did we?
Why?
Why? Maybe that'll be a shorty.
Wow.
But yeah. So all in all, we gotta thank science for toast.
Yeah. Thank you, science.
It's like I said, honestly, I didn't realize how underrated toast is, frankly,
I don't know
until I realized what all you can do with it.
I don't know
Because
if
technicality speaking,
I don't know if it's underrated or if it's just that like it's so just ubiquitous with like
it could, yeah,
with life
it could be like
that
I said.
you just kind of go around taking
Absolutely.
full advantage of the fact that you have toast whenever you want
Whenever
it.
you want.
And you never stop to think that at one point Roman peasants were throwing it on the fire to live a little, you know what I mean?
There's like-
to get a sweet taste of existence, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like they were essentially doing what daredevils do today, where they're like, I just want to feel alive. So they threw a piece
In
of
between their
fucking-
gladiator battles, they're like, "You want to
Yeah,
toast
I
some
mean,
toast?"
that's what I'm saying.
Toast some bread.
Like gladiator battles are literally slaves fighting each other. All they're eating is bread and like
Bread.
porridge, and like, you know what I mean? That's all they're eating. That's all they're getting fed, and absolutely
wild?
100%. Someone probably took their shitty little
Yeah.
like terrible bread.
Absolutely.
You'd probably call it naan today, and then they just throw it. I like naan, but naan is
Love
super
naan.
simple, right? Like it's
Absolutely.
literally flour, water, salt. Like
Absolutely.
and they probably had their little naan
You got it.
flat and they threw it in the pit.
And they're like, "Oh, this is good."
Yeah, and they took it off there
Absolutely.
like,
They're
"Arr,
right.
rah, rah, rah," and, you know,
Absolutely.
they said a bunch of manly things and probably jerked each other off. I don't know what Romans
Because that's what they did, apparently.
Yeah, I don't know what Romans
So I
did.
say allegedly for that too.
Yeah,
don't wanna-
allegedly.
I don't wanna-
Allegedly, Roman gladiators made toast while they fucked. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
That's what history says, kind
Heyo.
of, maybe.
Sort of. All right, Tim. So with your 80 red balloons, you upping it or you lowering it? Or are you at the same?
So I'm going to be honest with you. I am fascinated with the history of toast.
Yeah.
I'm not going to up it. I'm not going to lower it. But
Okay.
yeah, I'm going to keep it the same.
I think it's a pretty solid score, honestly.
yeah,
frankly.
I think once you kind of at the top once you rolled me into how many like technically different versions of toast there are.
Yeah.
Like that's sort of what gave me that score anyway. And then the history, honestly, some of it kind of pissed me off.
That's
Toasters
fair.
should not
No.
have been made that early.
I had to reread that a few times because
The
I was like, this doesn't
toaster-
make any
Yeah,
sense.
the toaster did not deserve to be made that early. I just don't
No.
know what to tell you.
But I'm also confused because it's like Thomas Edison was out here making panini presses
Again,
when he was trying to invent the light bulb. So I'm like,
panini
dude,
presses and toasters
Like-
deserve to be like
who would have thought?
30s inventions, mass produced and used by the nuclear family. You know what I mean?
That's what happened,
There's
though.
no
That's right.
way that any of that should have happened in the 1800s.
I know. No, I know. It threw me off.
Not allowed. Like, as far as I'm concerned, they should have been discovering toast on fire in the 1850s. The Romans shouldn't have had to discover that shit.
Always the Romans.
Oh,
That's
man.
what I've honestly.
Yeah,
that's
the
kind
Romans-
of what I've learned from all
the
this.
Romans-
The Romans crushed it.
The Romans didn't do everything. They just like controlled everyone that did everything. So
Yes.
like they didn't
Yes.
do shit. They sort of
That's
just
it.
took over places that were already doing
Like,
stuff.
you
Like,
guys
so-
got it? We got it now.
Yeah.
Great, thanks.
And then we
Just keep your
wrote
read
it,
down.
and then they wrote it down. And
Yep.
it's like, yeah, we did this, and it's like, okay, sure you did.
this. Gotta take your word for it now.
Sure you did, Roman. So yeah, 80 red balloons.
Hey, I'll take it.
I'm gonna stick with the 80. That kid can have the extras.
Sorry,
And,
sweet of them.
All right, guys. If you enjoyed that, and you enjoyed toast, and you enjoy lobster, because that was our last episode. If you enjoy food as much as we do, you should follow us on Twitter at Where Does Food. I'm at Tim Wehunt. L is
El Chapo.
at
confirmed.
El Chapo.
Also, with that, like, if you guys have food recommendations,
Throw them at us.
throw them at us. Like, recipes or, like, actual places to go
If
eat.
you're a food historian,
like, just fucking
and that's your job,
send it our way, my
because
guy.
you're a savage,
Or my
like,
girl.
and you just like really
Okay.
like crushed like life and became a food historian. Like, the
Hit us
only
up.
way,
Slide in the DMs.
yeah, the only way
Go
you get
down.
that as any sort of job
Yeah.
is if you've just like you've pretty much bent life over a barrel, like, and you've just said you are mine.
Yeah.
So,
I want
like,
that.
you know,
Okay.
that's the only way.
Need that energy.
Not to like give like
No.
rape energies. It's consensual.
Oh, no,
You know what I
it is.
mean?
Yep.
Like the world. Let me change it. The world bent over a barrel for you. You know what I mean?
They wanted to.
Yeah, it wanted to. You were like, I want to be a food historian, and the world was like,
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. There you go.
yeah, take me.
Drop trout.
So, you know, you can, throw some more facts about toast or whatever, or any episode we do. You throw more facts at us. If,
Let us know.
yeah, just hit us up. But again, that's on Twitter at Where Does Food. At Tim We Hunt, at El Chavo. You can follow us. You can also go to anchor.fm/where-does-food.
Woo.
There's a lot. So
yeah, that's
anchor.fm/where-does-food. That's our profile. You can go on there. That's going to be where like kind of the main hub is, so you can support us there with our support
Awesome.
button. We also are going to, we're going to kind of develop it. So these early episodes, I don't have like a full spiel. It will become more detailed as we keep
you guys
doing
know.
this. But there will be different bonus episodes, things like that. We got a couple of things that we want to do that maybe don't necessarily fit in the format of the season. So we'll probably throw some little bonus content out there. And that'll be on anchor.fm/where-does-food. You can also find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, CastBox. We're out there. Listen to us, share us, like us, love us, live us, laugh us.
Live, laugh, learn.
See ya.